Today I will show you one of the most amazing puzzles I can think of. I love these very much, they're very well made and they're somewhat challenging but not the hardest. Compared to binary puzzles or something, these are relatively easy. Now there's a set of rules that make it, of course, possible to make the puzzle. And the first one is always fill in 1 to 5, always in increasing order. So that means you'll see several blocks, several areas colored, and they always have 1 to 5, but some of them are smaller. For example, we have an area with only 4, which means you have 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1 to 5. There's even smaller areas, so we just have a 1 and a 2 for this area. Now, and then the second and already last rule, the numbers can never touch, not even diagonal. So for example, around this 3 can never be another 3. So I will give you some helpers that will help you solve this puzzle relatively easily. Now the first helper is pretty obvious actually. You start with the corner with the most pre-filled numbers. Obviously this is the left bottom corner for us. It has a lot of pre-filled numbers. Now another little tip is, of course, smaller areas are easier. We only have one smaller area in the left bottom corner. We can't really start around the one with only 2 spots, unfortunately, because that's too much empty around it. But once we get there, once we work our way towards it, it will be really easy to know that it only has a 1 and a 2 in there. And the last rule is the golden rule. Use the power of exclusion. This is the entire key to solving these puzzles, and I'll show you right away. We have in the bottom left a yellow area with a 4 and a 3. Connected to it is a green area with only a 1. Since I cannot place a 1 around the existing 1, there's only one spot in the yellow area where I can put my 1. And that is right in the bottom. This one then in turn helps me fill in the orange block next to it, because again, I cannot place a 1 around the existing 1, so there's only one spot remaining in the orange area. And there we go, that's the 1. In the orange area we now have a 3 and a 2 remaining. Luckily we already have a 3, so we can fill in the one that's not connected to the 3 with another 3. Because we know we cannot place a 3 connected to the existing 3. So now I stop marking the areas around with red, so keep track of what I'm doing. Obviously there's only one spot left in the orange block, which is going to be the 1, 2. Using the power of exclusion, we see something very interesting. In the second yellow block in the middle, we see a block surrounded by 4 different numbers. Pretty rare occasion, you won't see that too often. But we have a 1 connected, a 3, a 4 and a 5. So naturally, this also has to be a 2. The already pre-filled 3 in the yellow block will help us also fill in the green block entirely. I cannot place a 3 next to it, so there's only one spot remaining for the 3. That's right there. Then the 2 in turn, because the 5 doesn't matter, because the 5 will not exist in the green block because it only has 4 areas. So there's only a 2 left, and the 2 cannot be placed in the bottom corner, so needs to be in the top corner. And then the last one remaining is the 4, which we fill in right away. Now we can also completely solve the yellow corner block. This is because we already have the 2 right here, which means in the top upper corner of that 2 cannot be another 2. So there needs to be a 5, and then we can also pre-fill the 2 because it's the last remaining number. So far we completely completed this corner already. It's going to get much harder, but this has a lot of pre-filled numbers, so it's a very easy area to fill. And let's complete this area as well, the yellow area. We have 2 4s connecting to 2 separate blocks in the yellow area. So we know the power of exclusion dictates that we have to place the 4 in the last remaining spot. Then we have a 5 connecting to one of the blocks, so we also take the last remaining spot for the 5, and then we can pre-fill the 1 because that's the last remaining one. Then we have a green area, and the only thing that helps us here is the 4. The 4 is connected to 3 separate blocks in this area, so the 4 can be filled in right away in the last remaining area. So we cannot continue in this green block right now. We do not have the numbers we need, but we can easily get those because there's a 3 in the middle yellow block, and that will help us because that 3 cannot fit in any of the connecting slots above. So there's only one remaining in the orange block, and it's this 3. Because I maybe go too fast, I mark it once again, so there cannot be a 3 around that 3. So in the orange area there will be only one slot remaining for the 3. Now this is getting really hard now because we only have 2s and 3s connected to this one. So that means there's going to be a 1, a 4 and a 5 that still needs to be filled in, but we have no helpers whatsoever. Luckily the 3 we just filled in may just help us, again with a very special power of exclusion. We have a 5 connected and a 3 connected to the same block. That means, since we only have 3 spots, there can only be one number that has its place yet, and that's the 1. And let's call that check for the odd one out, because it's the power of exclusion into the extreme. Since we do not exclude something based on one number, but we exclude something based on all the other numbers. With that helper, of course, we have the 5 still connected to one block, so it can only be placed there, and then we have the 3 remaining to complete this block as well. Now I'll give you one more helper if you're really stuck, and let's look for the corner pieces. And we have a 3 that has that and only that purpose. This 3 is all the way wedged into another block, which means it connects to 3 sides of that block, which means none of these can be a 3, which is great in turn because then there's only one odd one out, and that's the last one. Talking about the odd one out, then we can also fill in the bottom one because we have a 4 and a 1 both connected to one block, which can only be a 2 because the 5 doesn't even join this 4 piece. And with that, we can easily complete the block. Having so much numbers surrounding another orange block will help as well because it's only a 4 piece and we already have all the other numbers connected, even the 5, even though we don't need it. Well, it's going to be the 1 that's the odd one out, which helps us instantly fill in the top one as well because the 1 can't be in the middle one, so it has to be the other one, and then the 4 is the last one remaining. Having a 2 and a 4 connected will also help us get the 3 in here, and then we are a little bit stuck on this corner, so we do not have the tools to complete this one, so let's try to fix the bottom right one. If we look around the currently selected tile, we see another 4 different numbers surrounding it. A 1, a 3, a 4 and a 5. That means there's only one number left, it's the 2. This also means we have a 5 connected to a corner, which means it's going to be the other one, and then we can complete that one. With this new 2, we can also solve the last one because the 2 cannot be in this block, so it needs to be in this one. And there we go. We now did almost the bottom half of it, and we are quite stuck in the left side area because there's not much help there since we only have 3s and 2s. You're gonna need at least 3 different types connected to one block, to one area I should say. Luckily we do have definitely some help in the other corner. We have a 1, a 2 and a 3, so this is going to be a 4 or a 5. This can't be the 4, and these can't be the 4 because they're all connected to other 4s, so the 4 must be this one. The 3 in this turn is also connected to 3 areas, so it has to be the last one remaining. Now we do have the 1, so we know the 1 is going to be either one of these 2 places, but other than that we have no help whatsoever, so we have to look into a different corner in order to solve this one. Since we have again pretty much only 2 blocks here remaining, it's going to be a bit harder. This is going to be a 2 or a 5, and the other ones can all be 2, 5 or 1s. Since we are pretty much stuck, we're going to go for helper 5, look for the corner pieces. We have a 3 that's wedged into 3 connecting parts of a yellow block, so we know the last remaining one is going to be a 3. And we also have a 2 that's connected to 3 parts, so that last one is going to be the 2 as well. It doesn't help us too much, but it does fill in some of the blanks. Smaller areas are easier, we know that by now, and we're going to need this now to proceed. So this helper 2 is important when you're stuck, is very important. Because what do we know? We know there's going to be a 1 and a 2 here. So we also know that around it connected directly towards both of them. So that will be those 4 areas. There cannot be a 1 and there cannot be a 2. And this is the only way to proceed here, because if this can't be a 1 and a 2 and it's already connected to a 3 and a 5, then the odd one out is the 4. Then in turn we know this one will not allow another one in this area, so that must be the remaining 2. And then obviously the last one is the 1. Then we also have the odd one out again for this yellow part, which can only be a 2 because it's surrounded by a 1, a 3, a 4 and a 5. The newly filled in one will help us also fill in the other one above it because it connects to 2 parts, which means the odd one out is the one in the top. Which in turn helps us fill in the green one as well, because a 1 is connected to almost all sides except 1. The odd one out applies quickly to another green block in there, and it's going to be the 5, which is the only one not connected. Same counts for the 5, we have it in the corner, so there's only 1 spot remaining, and that's going to be this one. Which also means we can fill in this area. Which also means we can fill in this area. Which also means we can fill in this area. All using the power of exclusion. Now of course we can finish the orange one then right away. Now using the power of exclusion we can think a little bit ahead. And let's make that helper 6 for when you're quite stuck. So the 5 and the 3 can't be placed in the areas next to them. So they must be placed in the areas that remain. That means 1, 5 and 3 is all connected to this corner. So that must be the last one remaining, the 4. Then we have the 3 and the 5 that's going to be placed somewhere here. In what order doesn't matter. So only then the 1 remains, which you can fill in the remaining spots. You still don't know these, but you did use them to figure out the other 2. And we have an odd one out in the blue section now, that's the 2. We also have an odd one out on a somewhat different manner. The 4 already exists, so the 1, 2 and 3 create the last one remaining, the 5. Now this one is a little bit thinking a few steps ahead again. We have a 2 here, so it can't be placed here. So it must be one of these 2. So these 2 cannot be a 2. Because it's already going to be here. Which means it can only be this one. And because of it can only be this one, then this one can't go either. So we can completely complete the 2. And then the 1 and the 2. So it was a bit tricky. So I know it's going to be either one of these 2 going to be the 2. It's going to be. So this one can't be a 2. That means only this one remained. So that's thinking a few steps ahead without actually filling things in. With the help of the small blocks finally, which we needed badly, we can also think a few steps ahead on this area. So what do we know? For a fact, we know that we have a 1, a 5 and a 4 here. So that means in this area is going to be connected to a 1, a 4 and a 5. So it has to be either a 2 or a 3. Since the 2 is already connected from the top, it's going to be the 3. Which also causes us now to have the one in the middle there, which is going to be the 1, because that's the odd one out. The rest doesn't really help us, because we know this is going to be the 4 or the 5, since the 1 is already connected. So this is also going to be the 4 or the 5. But this could still be the 1, so the 4 or the 5 could also be on that area. However, we can surely find an odd one out in this area. We have a 1, 2, 3 and a 5, so this must be the 4. So we still have the 5 and the 2. Well, the 2 can't be placed here, so it must be placed here. And this is the 5. Then we have plenty of odd ones out here as well as the 4. I already assumed this would be the 1, because that's the only one that was logical there. And then the 5. Now we have a lot of help in this area, but what we're still missing is the 1. But we do have a 5 connected to 2, so that can help us. So we have the 5 in the 1 remaining corner. The 4 is connected to 1 corner, so it's going to be a 4 and a 1 as well. So now we're almost done already. We have a 1 connected to this area, so this is going to be the 1. So the odd one out is the 5. The 1 is connected to this area, so the other one is going to be the 1. and a 3. Then the one is a corner piece, so that's going to be easy as well. It's going to be the 1. We got a 4 connected to 2 areas, so the last one remaining is a 4. We got a 5 connect to 1 area, and we got a 3. 3, and there we go. We completed the Tectonic puzzle, mainly using the power of exclusion. So we never really knew the definite one, but we nearly always knew what couldn't be placed there, and that's what helped us. I hope you like this puzzle. You'll find them in a lot of, puzzle books, or maybe online or something. They're really fun to do, and they're just a breeze once you go through them. They're not really hard, maybe even 2 stars if you get the hang of it. But thank you for watching, and until the next puzzle.